What's up, guys? They say first impressions matter. Well, that's usually the case in a job interview or on a first date. But for NFL players, past and present, a good or bad debut doesn't determine how successful your career may or may not be. But some of the greatest NFL players in history absolutely dazzled in their professional games. And we knew then and there that they were going to be something special. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present the 10 greatest NFL debut games of all time. Make sure to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos all the time. Subscribe. Make sure to leave your video ideas down below. We'll be looking, and if we choose your idea, we'll give you a shout out in the video. Number 10, Baker Mayfield, 2018. The Cleveland Browns drafted the Oklahoma product with the first overall pick in 2018, which came as a surprise to many pundits. After all, Sam Darnold and Josh Allen came into this draft with higher upsides than Mayfield. The Browns decided not to start their rookie quarterback for the first 3 games of 2018. Veteran Tyrod Taylor nearly led the Browns to victories in weeks 1 and 2, so he retained the starting gig for week 3, a Thursday night contest against the New York Jets. However, Taylor suffered a concussion late in the first half, with the Browns trailing 14-0. That left head coach Hugh Jackson no choice but to throw the rookie into the fire, and Mayfield gave the Browns something to cheer about for the first time since we don't even know. Mayfield's final stat line in basically just one half of play, 17 of 23, good for a 73.91 completion percentage. He had 201 passing yards and caught the pass on the Cleveland special 2-point conversion attempt. Oh, and the Browns won 21-17. That was their first victory since week 16 of the 2016 season against the San Diego Chargers. Mayfield finished the season with a rookie record 27 touchdown passes. Amazing considering he didn't play in 2.5 games. Number 9, Randy Moss, 1998. The Minnesota Vikings drafted Randy Moss with the 21st pick in 1998, pairing him with perennial Pro Bowler and a fellow future Hall of Famer in Chris Carter. Nobody in the NFL universe could have known what would be in store for Minnesota in 1998, but Moss offered a glimpse with a tremendous debut game, a Week 1 home contest against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Moss caught 4 passes for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, pacing the Vikings to an easy 31-7 victory. All he, Carter, and Randall Cunningham did was lead the Vikings to an NFL best 15-1 record. Minnesota recorded a single-season record of 556 points, which held up for 9 years. They reached the NFC Championship game but lost a heartbreaker to the Atlanta Falcons. But Moss and the 98 Vikings were so incredibly dominant that we still talk about them today. They're among the greatest teams that didn't win it all. Number 8, Adrian Peterson, 2007. The Randy Moss and Chris Carter glory days were long gone, and the Minnesota Vikings were desperate to find a new offensive playmaker to build around. Enter Adrian Peterson, the Oklahoma product whom the Vikings selected with the number 7 pick in 2007. Peterson's NFL debut took place in Week 1, a home contest against the Atlanta Falcons. AP absolutely dominated the game in every aspect. He had 19 carries for 103 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Peterson had 1 catch in the contest, but it was a doozy, a 60-yard touchdown reception from Tavares Jackson. The Vikings would win the game 24-3, and he unsurprisingly went on to win the offensive rookie. Number 7, LaDainian Tomlinson, 2001. The San Diego Chargers drafted TCU running back LaDainian Tomlinson with the 5th pick in 2001. The Chargers had struggled throughout the late 90s, striking out on Ryan Leaf, the number 2 pick in 1998. He's only the greatest draft bust in franchise history, but LT went to work in restoring relevance to the Chargers franchise. His first NFL game was a Week 1 home contest against the Washington Redskins. LT was unstoppable throughout the contest, carrying the ball 36 times for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. He added 1 reception for 12 yards as well, leading the Chargers to a 30-3 blowout victory. Tomlinson would go on to earn 5 Pro Bowl selections, winning the 2006 League MVP award and earning himself a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He retired with 13,684 career rushing yards and 145 touchdowns. Number 6, Robert Griffin III, 2012. The Washington Redskins traded up and selected Heisman Trophy winner Robert Griffin III with the number 2 pick in the 2012 draft, right after the Indianapolis Colts took Andrew Luck with the first overall selection. That said, many expected Griffin to have a rude welcome to the NFL. His Redskins opened the season on the road against Drew Brees and the powerhouse New Orleans Saints, who didn't lose a single home game during the 2011 season. Luckily for Griffin, New Orleans fielded one of the absolute worst defenses of all time in the 2012 season. The Saints had absolutely no answer for RG3. who torched them big time with 19 completions for 320 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He added 42 rushing yards and led Washington to a monumental upset, a 40-32 victory. Griffin went on to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award after leading Washington to an NFC East division title. It's a shame that the Redskins mismanaged RG3 and that knee injuries derailed his career. This epic and memorable debut game should have been the start of a legendary career. Number 5. Louis Lips, 1984. Unless you're a longtime Pittsburgh Steelers fan, there's a good chance that you don't know about this guy. He played 9 seasons in the NFL, from 1984 to 92. He was a 2-time Pro Bowl wideout for Pittsburgh in 1984 and 85. Maybe the name doesn't ring a bell to you, but he'll be remembered for one of the most impressive NFL debuts of all time. It was Week 1 of the 1984 season against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Steelers were in a transition period with franchise icons such as Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, and Lynn Swann retired, while he stepped in and performed beautifully. He had 6 receptions for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Steelers lost a high-scoring contest 37-27 to the visiting Chiefs, but his performance alone gave Pittsburgh fans their money's worth. Number 4. Marshall Faulk, 1994. He only played 5 seasons for the Indianapolis Colts, but legendary running back Marshall Faulk certainly made the most of his time there. You can only wonder what could have been if Faulk, Marvin Harris, and Peyton Manning spent more years together. At any rate, Faulk was a must-watch player during a rather frustrating 90s decade for the Colts. He was one of the game's biggest offensive playmakers of his era, and the Colts knew they had something special after watching his debut against the Houston Oilers in 1994. Faulk just couldn't be stopped on this memorable day. The future Hall of Famer rushed for 143 yards on 23 carries and 3 touchdowns. He added a 31-yard reception in this contest as well, and the Colts absolutely destroyed the Oilers by a final score of 45-31. As you probably would have guessed, Faulk was named Offensive Rookie of the Year after rushing for 1,282 yards and 11 touchdowns. He would win Super Bowl 34 with the St. Louis Rams, 3 Offensive Player of the Year awards, and oh yeah, a spot in Canton. Number 3. Cam Newton, 2011. The Carolina Panthers drafted the dual-threat quarterback out of Auburn with the first overall pick in 2011. New head coach Ron Rivers didn't want to waste any time. There was no waiting around. He wanted Newton to start right away, so the latter was handed the reins for Carolina's Week 1 road contest against the Arizona Cardinals. Newton completely picked apart on the Redbirds secondary, completing 24 passes for a whopping 422 yards and 2 touchdowns. Newton added 18 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Despite the tremendous effort, the Panthers lost 28-21. But that's okay. The future had finally arrived in Carolina. Newton went on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, tossing 4,051 yards and 21 touchdown passes while rushing for 706 yards and a single-season QB record of 14 touchdowns. So I'd say it's pretty okay. Yeah. Newton has gone on to become a league MVP winner while guiding Carolina to a Super Bowl 50 appearance. Not that anybody is shocked. After that sensational debut, it was obvious that big things were in store for him and the Carolina Franchise of the Year while earning the first of 7 Pro Bowl selections. Number 2. Kareem Hunt, 2017. The Kansas City Chiefs visited the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots in Week 1 of the 2017 season for the NFL's kickoff game. Head coach Andy Reid couldn't wait to use flash rookie and do-it-all running back Kareem Hunt. However, Hunt experienced every running back's worst possible nightmare. He fumbled in his first NFL carry, giving the Patriots the ball deep in KC territory. Luckily for Hunt, the Chiefs forced a turnover on downs. Then he completely took over the game. Hunt ran the ball 17 times for a whopping 148 yards, plus 1 rushing touchdown. He was just as lethal in the passing game, notching 5 receptions for 98 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Yeah, he found the end zone 3 times against a Bill Belichick coach defense. How often do you see that? And for what it's worth, that was Tom Brady's first regular season home loss to an AFC team in which he played all 4 quarters since 2006. That's right, 11 years, and it was thanks to a rookie who the Chiefs had taken in the 3rd round. Number 1. Anquan Boldin, 2003. The Arizona Cardinals selected this big and physically dominant wide receiver with the 54th selection in the 2003 draft. Obviously, the Cardinals had high hopes that Boldin would be able to grow into a dynamic playmaking weapon. It had been a while since they had an elite pass catcher after all, but there's no way the Cardinals could have expected Boldin to throw such a giant rookie party in his NFL debut, a Week 1 road contest against the Detroit Lions. Veteran journeyman Jeff Blake assumed the starting duties for Arizona, and thanks to Boldin, he had perhaps the finest game of his career. Boldin notched 10 receptions for a jaw-dropping 217 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Despite that, Arizona fell 42-24, but Boldin's debut game was nothing to be forgotten about. Those 217 yards were most ever in an NFL debut. Boldin went on to become a 3-time Pro Bowler and won Super Bowl 47 with the Baltimore Ravens. He sits 9th all-time in receptions and 14th all-time in career receiving yards. After that historic and phenomenal debut, we should have known he was primed for special things. What other epic NFL debut game should we have included on our list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos all the time as well. Make sure to subscribe to TPS because we post videos as well all the time. Subscribe. Make sure to like this video if you liked it. It takes one click and we really appreciate it. Right down there. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.